Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Less Known Classics. This is episode number 2002 and Doubleshot number 1896. Now, both two trades are sort of spy-based, kind of. This one's about an assassin. This book was part of the New Age of Heroes line of books. And here's the thing about this book. Did you know this actually was had the third highest number of issues of the entire line? Yeah, it actually lasts longer than New Challengers, Curse to Brimstone, Immortal Men, Sideways, and Damage. Yeah, those two of them came past six issue mark. The other ones basically barely last a year. This lasted for 18 issues, shockingly. And it's a book by Dan Abnett, with art by John Romita Jr. Yeah, seriously. He is one of my least favorite artists. I don't have anything against the guy's artwork. It's just that he's not my personal favorites, honestly. Okay. We have the first trade for The Silencer, The Code of Honor. This collects the first 6 issues of this, well, kind of not exactly a very long series per se, but now, as I mentioned, John Romita Jr. does the artwork, but only for the first 3 issues. Yes, seriously. For some strange reason, I have no idea why this is. I have not spoken to Dan Abnett. I've never met him before, or any other. The only person I have met who's been associated with this line of books has been the writer for Hawkman, Robert Venditti. Now, I didn't ask about this, but apparently all the books under this line apparently have this one big problem. Hawkman didn't have this problem, but all the rest of the books had this particular problem. We announced this artist on the book at the start of the series, and then 2 issues later, by issue 3, they're gone. They've been removed. Like, for example, in the series The Terrifics, Ivy Reyes was basically the artist of that book until he replaced issue 4 with somebody else. This book is John Romita Jr., who does the first 3 issues. The other artwork is done by Victor Bergovic. Now, who exactly is the Silencer? Her real name is okay, so her name is Honor Guest. Okay, now the best way to describe this character is that, well, some people have pointed that this is DC's take on the Punisher. Though with John Romita Jr. in the artwork, it's more like this takes inspiration from Kick-Ass than the Punisher. I would say that they take inspiration from the second Kick-Ass a lot more than the original, because that one was also married and had kids as well. Though this one has a tiny connection to Batman. You're probably thinking, how does a woman who's completely original to DC Comics at this point in time has a loose connection to Batman? How is this the case? Well, apparently she was part of Leviathan, the organization formed by Talia al Ghul. They do bring up in this series something happened in the pages of the Superman comics, where Talia has been ousted as the head of Leviathan and replaced with, of course, Mark Shaw. This was, of course, revealed in Event Leviathan. So, apparently, Silence has been reactivated, kind of even though she's retired. Yeah, apparently she's retired by the end of the series. And here's the thing, she's the only person that Talia ever allowed to leave Leviathan. No one else is ever allowed to leave. She's the only one who actually was allowed to leave. And of course, she's been reactivated. You're probably thinking, someone told Guns, does she run into some of DC's best marksmen, either Deadshot or Deathstroke? The answer is yes. She runs into frickin' Deathstroke halfway through this book. Yes, frickin' Deathstroke. Why not? It's not a bad idea. And you might be asking, Nick, had basically Dan Abnett wrote Punisher, not Punisher, did you write Deathstroke part of this? Did he have experience writing this book? The answer is yes. Yes, he has. He actually wrote him as part of that crossover with Titans, which book he wrote at that point. Teen Titans and Deathstroke. It was part of the last contract. That was first I could think of he's ever written the character. Now, also, you might be thinking, Dan wrote the Remorse Punisher? No, I think he hasn't. John Romita Jr. has done artwork for Punisher. Yes, he definitely has. As a matter of fact, he was first artist for Punisher Warzone. Yes. For the start of the series, it's pretty good. I like it. I can't wait to get my hands in the air 2 Flames. I give this one a 9 out of 10. Hell, it's even 9.5 because of John Romita Jr.'s artwork. And as of currently, excuse me, you might be asking, Nick, what exactly is the two creators doing nowadays? Well, John Romita Jr. is on Amazing Spider-Man, and Dan Abnett is over at Valiant. I believe one of the last books I could think if he worked on was Rye. Yeah, he worked on a revival of the Rye series. That was recent I can think of he worked on. Next up we have James Bond. Ian Fleming, James Bond, The Reflections of Death. This basically is an original graphic novel. Not an adaptation of some novel. An original graphic novel collects series of short stories from James Bond. And these are your writers for the issues. And we have... These names probably would surprise you, given the fact that one of these names has written a miniseries before for James Bond. Okay, we have Chapter 1, The Broker, written by Vita Alia and Danny Laura by Jordi Perez. The Rare Dinner, written by Benjamin Percy. Yes, as in the guy who currently does X-Force and Wolverine, with Kevin Ball in the artwork. The Oddest Job, written by Greg Pak, who actually has written a James Bond book besides from this one. Yeah, he wrote the James Bond Origin miniseries, Origin Bond series, so he was with Dean Coates on the artwork. Chapter 4, One Pistol, Three Silencers, written by Gail Simone. Yes. Art by Aaron Morin. Chapter 5, Men Without Country, written by Mark Russell. Art by Robert Carey. The Hook. Another person who's actually written a James Bond book before, Andy Diggle, with art by Laura Kazuya. Now, like I said, this is just a series of stories that were just happily collected. Now, they're all standard James Bond fare, him taking out various people. Now, you might be thinking, is there any story that does feature James Bond having sex, like he did with the previous book I talked about, which was Hammerhead? Yes. Some of them do, some don't. But these are just good, classic style James Bond stories. Like, if you think of James Bond, these books you might actually think of. These books, none of these issues are bad. Those stories, anyways. I give this book a 9.5. I think it's really good here. Okay, so that's the particular. I'm going to go straight ahead and do another comic corner. Okay? Let's do it. Bye.